Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Thanks for joining us again. Ahead February elections, the matters of rising. That's our focus of discussion on the show today. Let's start from the floor of the Senate, where the 2015 budget passed its second reading and was referred to the Committees on Finance and Appropriation for further legislative action. They say this might take 4 weeks. Of course, I believe this House, the senators are in recess to reconvene after elections. But let's get details from Pal Samuel, who was there yesterday.
Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala tabled the 2015 4.3 trillion naira budget proposal before federal lawmakers, but oil prices have not stopped dropping. This is a major concern among senators at the consideration of the appropriation bill. Many of them also wondered why the executive should not replace the budget with a more realistic one.
What we are passing to the committees is not realistic. It is not what the budget of 2015 will look like. And we should not deceive ourselves here that committees have realistic projections to work with. The ideal thing, Mr. President, will have been a situation where we should allow the federal government, of which we are all part of, to go and review this budget on the basis of predictable oil benchmark and volume projections so that Nigerians can know upfront the revenue situation that the country is faced in, rather than get on this roller coaster of process and let us tick this box. After all, the Senate has done its work.
I have not seen in this document whereby this country intends to diversify in the mining, diversify in agriculture. Look at what goes to the mine and steel development, which is supposed to be another area that the government and the nation should also try to invest. What is it getting? 250 million in a budget of over 3 trillion. This is not good enough.
There are others who expressed delight at the oil slump, which they say will make the authorities consider looking at other sources of revenue. Some senators used the opportunity to push for a reduced government expenditure, while at least one of them drew attention to powerful government agencies that do not remit funds to Federation accounts.
Let all this money come into the CRF so we can have a clear view of the wealth of the nation so that we can share it more equitably and more justiciably.
What the central bank was spending in funding universities and other things was more than the entire budget of the entire what we sit here to pass. And I ask the question, is this part of the 20% which they're supposed to generate and keep and spend? And if this 20%, where is the other 80%? So I'm celebrating that oil has gone down so that we can go back to this instrument.
In spite of this, the bill unanimously scaled through second reading and was referred to the Joint Finance and Appropriation Committees for further legislative action.
I do believe that this is time for us as a parliament to ensure that while considering the appropriation bill for 2015, that all the revenue items are captured, and our committee on finance will help us in this regard. We need to ensure that all existing revenue items are captured in the budget, as well as having a pool of resources that will help us to implement the budget when passed.
The Senate thereafter adjourned till February 17 in a move that clearly shows that the federal lawmakers firmly have their eyes set on February 14, when presidential and National Assembly elections are due to hold.
I'm joined now by veteran public affairs analyst, and he's the MD Editor-in-Chief of Financial Standard, Bola Onanuga. Thank you for joining us today. Many have questioned the realistic nature of the 2015 budget, starting from the oil benchmark that was put at $65 per barrel. But are you seeing a situation whereby Nigeria as a nation will walk on water as it relates to this budget, so to speak?
Well, I've said it times that number to some media houses that our economic managers, they were lacking in anticipation.
Okay.
If you are driving, you must anticipate. If you are eating, you must anticipate. If you are drinking, you must anticipate. And while anticipating, you have to appropriate appropriately for all these things. So what our economic managers were lacking was that they were used to a robust approach to managing the economy. They assumed that oil revenue will continue to increase. And you have to remember that the law of economics says the more demand you have, the more supply you have, the lesser the price you get. Because when supply is above demand, price will fall. Since U.S. has released its own oil to the world, there is nothing stopping them from anticipating that oil prices will come down. They didn't anticipate that. It came to them as a shock. The same thing is being pointed out by the Senate or the National Assembly yesterday. It was, they ought to have withdrawn the entire budget package and come up with something smaller, disciplined, and once you have a smaller budget, you can also appropriate properly. You can also look at other ways of generating income. For instance, I cannot see why tax should not have increased.
Okay.
In Egypt, luxury carries about 40%. Luxury items that are being consumed within the society carries about 40%. In Nigeria, both luxury and necessity, it carries the same price of 5%. The Egyptian economy is not as big as the Nigerian economy. A lot of revenue is supposed to come out of that place. Nobody is looking at that. Everybody is thinking about 2015. And why are they thinking 2015 that if Jonathan should increase budget today? Some people, the class, the middle class, will pull out from his behind. That's one projection. It is not just in that place, it is happening in all the other states.
It's more political than...
The budget is purely political.
I see.
Even the National Assembly itself is not doing Nigerians any good. You can't pass the buck back to the federal government. The job of the National Assembly is an oversight function. The Finance Committee and the Budget Committee of the Senate have enough expertise. They could get consultants. They have enough money, enough opportunity to get consultants. We're not looking for wizards to come and do the job. They can get consultants who, because of their own non-interest, non-partisanship, they will be able to look at it holistically and come up with something that will make sense
to Nigerians. Some have also said that probably this budget or perhaps the fall in global oil price is a blessing in disguise for Nigeria. We're going to touch on that, but I understand we have to take a commercial break now. Stick around. We'll be back with more. Don't go away.
Fellow Nigerians, as we enter a new year, let us talk Nigerian to Nigerian. Many of you believe that something is wrong with Nigeria. Many of you have given up. You think this country can never be good, can never get better. And so you forgive politicians for stealing and for mediocrity. Because you say to yourselves, they are all thieves. They are all selfish, and nothing will change. But is that really true? It is not. Many people ask me, why am I running for office again? And I ask them, what has changed since I began this mission? Can you honestly, truly say to yourself that our country has changed for the better? Are our children safe when they go to school? Are our parents safe when we leave them at home? Is the naira in your bank account of greater value today than it was 4 years ago? I, Muhammad Buhari, I am urging you to have your PVC, and on election day, you go peacefully and vote and make sure your vote count. Thank you very much.
Niger has got her pulse back. Now you can call from your campus and from over 500 other campuses at 11 copies per second all day to any network, plus lots of other awesome benefits. Dial *406#. Step into the pulsing zone. It's MTN iPulse, baby. Back, bigger, and better.
Pulsing P. MTN. Everywhere you go.
Welcome back. We have a rich platform across Nigeria for your goods and services and all of your advertorials. All you need to do is contact our inquiry line. It's somewhere on the scroll bar, I believe. I'm still joined by Bola Onanuga, MD, Editor-in-Chief of Financial Standard. Thank you for staying the course of the show this morning. There are people of certain school of thoughts that believe that the fall in global oil price is a blessing in disguise for Nigeria. You also heard one of the senators talking about the cost of governance still on the high side, the money allocated and budgeted for feeding of political leaders and many other, some have called irrelevant spending. How do you see Nigeria pull through at such a time like this? Some are expecting a large cut in government spending. How do you see it this time?
Yeah, well, the Senate should examine itself. The amount the Senate is also consuming out of the national budget is enormous.
I see.
The National Assembly, for that matter. They pay for, the Nigerian people pay taxes, extraction from oil and all sorts, and the chunk of it goes into the National Assembly. The National Assembly also should be pruned down. If you want government activities to be pruned down, they too should learn to pull down their own spending. You need to go to the National Assembly and see the way money is spent by all sorts of political. Each of them has at least 3 or 4 aides. They should reduce that. Because you make recommendation to the federal government or to the presidency that we, in our wisdom, as the senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or as members of the National Assembly, we want to make sacrifice for this nation to move on. And we also believe that you also will make the same sacrifice. Now, each of us will now be having 1 aide. We will now be taking 1 meal or 2 meals per day. We will reduce the number of cars we're using from 3 to 1. I mean, by then you will have enough power to hold the executive responsible for their act. But you see, you cannot ask the executive today to reduce their spending when you yourself, you are part of the spending. So the arithmetic is 1 plus 1. So you must examine yourself first. Then you come back and tell the president that, look, we have done this. We also expect you to do this. Because don't forget that most of the spending is on recurrent expenditure. And because it's on recurrent expenditure, there is no savings that is going to come out of it. It's only going to allow people to have disposable income. And if today, in any state of the federation, the federal government decide that, okay, we are pulling down our staff strength, that will strike. And one of those things that Labour will go into is that the National Assembly is earning so much. So they should make sacrifice before you ask us to come and reduce our staff strength. So it is something that should be done. But it must begin from those who are saying it. It must begin from the players themselves. If the National Assembly can use its own wisdom to manage it, that, okay, every senator, you now have to reduce this, reduce that, as a sacrifice to move Nigeria on, because the Senate is not bigger than Nigeria. The National Assembly is not bigger than Nigeria or Nigerians. So it is very important for them to examine themselves first and then make that recommendation appropriately.
But do you see the passage of this bill before the February elections? It's obvious that this bill cannot be passed before the election. Does it have any political impact at all?
It does, because one, all of them need time to campaign. They must campaign. And some of them felt aggrieved that they were not given an automatic ticket like was given to some governors and to some to the president and vice president. So they made recommendation for this, it was not followed. Then their allowances have not been paid for some time, so some of them are bitter that they're trying to reduce their capacity to fund their campaign. So this also translates to political arrangement. Then there are fears among the National Assembly members that if this budget is passed, the federal government will be using it to fund the operation for the election. That is a farce.
Okay.
The Constitution allows the executive to spend an average of about 40% of the budget, even if it is not passed. So if they don't understand that, then that is a very bad idea. But more importantly, some of them felt if the budget is also passed, it might affect their constituency voting in their favor.
Okay.
So I think it has more political undertone than the reality. However, the one reality there that I've been able to pick up is that the oil benchmark at 65 is not realistic.
Okay.
There was a senator who said, yes, they must make arrangements to diversify and fund some other new mining and emerging new opportunities, that more money should be voted to them. It's also a good idea. So that might impact on the fact that if it is adjourned and given to their committee, the committee will come up with suggestions and recommendations, which will enable the executive to realign their forces. For instance, the 65 oil benchmark is not realistic. Obviously not. They should come down to something like 50 or 45 at this point, so as to make things more vibrant.
Of course, the budget as it is now has passed its second reading. Will you be surprised if this budget scales through the way it is?
It can't. It cannot. They only did what we call a hurry job yesterday, because all of them were going for campaigns.
I see.
So the people are waiting for them, so their supporters are waiting for them at their respective constituency. So, and some of them were even present at at yesterday's violence-free gathering. So they do not have the time.
I see. It's all right. Let's quickly touch on other issues. And I believe this is where we'll open the phone lines for participation. The phone has been buzzing already. Interesting picture that we showed earlier. I'm sure you also saw it between the two presidents, the two candidates.
The two gladiators.
The two gladiators, so to speak, in the 2015 presidential election. But I want us to quickly touch on certain issues that they both disagreed on yesterday as regards the course of the post-election violence in 2011. While General Muhammadu Buhari believes it's as a result of irregularities and insisting that INEC needs to be more established in its fairness and in its equity as regards the conduct of the election, Mr. President thinks that it was beyond that he actually even lost elections in those areas where violence kick-started. What are your thoughts along this line?
Well, I did not see their position yesterday as disagreements.
Okay.
I see it as an exposition on the historical line. Yes, violence are done in some places where there are irregularities. Violence are conducted in some places where there warrant irregularities. But the vituperations of some of these political leaders can also lead to violence.
Okay.
Even where the winner overall did not even win in those states. It's just the reckless way that our leaders talk, our political leaders, that they talk to their supporters. But I think with yesterday activities, the opinion of Jonathan was a mere recommendation.
Okay.
The opinion of Buhari was also a recommendation. So this recommendation can be packed together and a communique will be issued. The whole essence of yesterday was not for them to come and disagree or to come and campaign. It is for them to come and find a way. It's a workshop. It's an international workshop to find a way out of the jungle that in 2015, it was the fear of everybody. You know, I told you, each time this country is getting closer to the brink of collapse, one miracle will just come from nowhere.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest Thursday.
Yeah, my name is Jaye Ola. I'm speaking from Warri.
Jaye Ola from Warri. How Warri today now?
We thank God we are fine.
All right, go ahead with the contribution.
Yes, Warri is fine.
I need you to turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can do without the delay.
Okay, I've done that.
All right, go ahead now, Jaye Ola.
Okay, what I want to speak about is about Nigeria economy.
All right.
And the budgeting. I think it is inward for everything they want to do concerning this country, budgeting and economic development. we should try as much as possible to collect accurate taxes. And all government parastatals that are too big to remedial funds, they should be forced by all means to do so. Instead of depending on oil exportation prices alone, internally generated funds will help us to grow better and to make our currency very, very solid as against foreign currency. That's just my submission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jayeola. We might have to go back and forth. Why is it so impossible to collect appropriate taxes in Nigeria? Is it a function of the system? Is it the people? I mean, why are we not seeing it as a major source of revenue as well, even like oil?
Like I said, we don't have the appropriate people in the appropriate agencies. Most of these appointments were done politically. And when you don't have the round peg in the round hole, you get stopped midway.
I see.
Where do you find a carpenter coming to come and broadcast in your own station? What will you get? You will come back to zero level. So most of the people we have, for instance, CBN, for instance, after Soludo, there has not been any serious economist as governor. You cannot make a player to come and regulate his colleagues. That is why the economy will not make progress. A senator said it the other time that 20% of what CBN earns are being used to fund university. CBN is not the manager of the Ministry of Education. It is supposed to manage, for instance, under Sanusi, they went to go and be donating to Boko Haram victims. That is the job of another set of people. You can recommend.
They say it's their corporate social responsibility.
It's not your corporate social responsibility to go into such an alarming scale of donations. CBN has its autonomy, no doubt about it, but it has to be done with some level of discipline, not recklessness. How many times have you gone to donate to other people who are displaced in other parts of the country that you have to section yourself to one side and allow for undue criticisms?
I see. So, okay, please go ahead.
So we need to do something about it. Most of these taxes that are not being collected, one, goes into corruption.
Okay.
Some are collected. Okay. Then there is under-taxing of some department. How can you give a waiver to people who are well off? If you give waiver to people who are well off, not that they are just starting those industries. Waiver are meant to encourage people to remain in that industry because of the downturn. Okay. But you can, there are so many other ways. In the United States, when they have this, another economy of the world, when they have their problems, a recession, there's a way they intervene in different industries, not by giving waivers.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, my brother Nisha, Mr. Tochukwu from Anambra.
Tochukwu, good morning. How are you today?
I'm very fine.
How's Anambra?
Anambra is fine.
All right, go ahead with the contribution, please.
Okay, I want to speak specifically on what I feel about the fall in oil price.
All right.
I know so many people might not be comfortable with that, but this is actually my thought. I think I'm very, very happy in the fall of global oil price. And people like me will even be happier if you continue to fall to maybe $5. This is because it's a free money. I want Nigeria to look internally. I want us to grow and forget the idea that there is oil. If you remember, there was a deal by the people representing Anambra State in the House that Anambra State should be made one of recognized and accorded due status as an oil producing state, and it was rejected. We are very happy because it would have landed the states, the people in the states, it would have made them lazy. Over here in Anambra State, we believe in hard work, and we see oil money as a free money. So we are very happy that Anambra State wasn't recognized. And I will be very sad if tomorrow Anambra State is included among the recognized as oil producing state, because oil to me shouldn't be our major state. So that is that on my thoughts. As for the picture you showed earlier in that segment, I think we shouldn't stop at Abuja Accord. We should also sign what is it called, Lagos Accord, Kanu Accord. There should be many accords signed by these politicians, and I blame their fans and their followers. for killing themselves. Like I always say, Nigeria is high time we stop killing ourselves and continue to remind the security agencies that they have a duty to perform. So please, I want to encourage our politicians. They should sign many accords. They should go as far as sensitizing their fans so that Nigeria will be good for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Chuku. Regards to everyone there in Anambra. Well, but this is not the first time we've been talking about getting alternative source of revenue for Nigeria. How come the oil sector had overshadowed every other part? Is it a function of how much money it actually brings in relative to other fields of the economy?
In other parts of the world, with due respect, where they are producing large-scale oil, Russia, for instance, they also rely on the revenue, even though over the years, they have learned to diversify. One of those things that is affecting Nigeria is one, the focus of our leader is basically on corruption, so that the money that comes from oil cannot be accounted for. And therefore, they were not even ready. Everywhere in the world, oil accounts for the most of the corruption in the world. It's a very dirty business. But here, our own is compounded by our own insincerity as well. Not just at the presidential level, not just at the ministry's level, even at your own level and my own level. We all contribute to that line, to that process of corruption. For instance, why will our refineries not work? Nigeria is the only country in the world that is in OPEC and has no functional refinery. Yet we spent billions of dollars to put together these refineries over the years. Jonathan has been there for 6 years. No refinery. We're still importing. Obasanjo was there for 8 years. No refinery. Yet we have refineries on the ground. We don't need that kind of gigantic elephant refineries. You can have 50 refineries in a country, in a state. Give every state, give every local government a condition that provide a small refinery that will take care of about just 5,000 people per day. It's a very simple logic.
What happens to those local refineries we call illegal? JTF enter there, destroy the facilities. Many have said that why not just improve on what those local people are doing and refine this oil, for crying out loud?
That's what we thought they should do. We wrote editorials on this several times. But you see, the powers that be prefer to be importing fuel, because what importing? They are making their cuts.
And they get to steal more money.
And more money gets away along the line. So oil in Nigeria is an area where you don't know how much is exported on a daily basis. In actual fact, the managers of our oil industry cannot even account for how much those oil companies, drilling companies, how much they are getting out. So there's no way you can account for anything.
It's all right. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest.
From Mina.
Easy.
Good morning. From Mina.
Can I call you Easy from Mina, okay? Go ahead with your contribution, Easy. Go ahead. Well, with you, go ahead with the contribution.
Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
I'm supporting the last caller.
Okay.
I'm supporting last caller. Are you hearing me, sir?
Yes, I'm with you.
Because last year, about 2 years ago, one of God was talking about oil. One of God from Lagos was talking about this. What is happening now?
Okay.
Then Nigeria to go back to farm. To go back. We started initially. So now the oil price, nobody can be buying oil in the world. I'm very happy like that nobody can buy oil in the world. Because this oil issue, I have gotten a lot of crisis in Niger Delta. Gotten a lot of crisis in the House of Assembly in Nigeria. Also a lot of crisis in the presidential issue. Because of the want to invest money, invest oil.
Okay.
We are talking of $20 billion. Listen, it's about 4 trillion naira. How much is our budget? And nobody is talking about it. The government is not after that meeting of money. What is going to be after the election? Who's the there? But our resources, our money is working. The sitting government was there, doing nothing, telling Nigeria that there's nothing missing. So, how do you, because of the thing that is their place, they will everybody in Nigeria that is threatening Nigerians. Everything happens, they will cut oil. Everything happens, they will cut pipe. Let them do nothing for the world so that you let them know where they will cut. You can't get oil and get power.
It's all right.
But now they do that because of their having oil. They're having oil, they're feeding Nigerians. So that's my own contribution.
Thank you very much, Eze from Mina. But to be fair to political leadership, do farming pay as much as oil on the overall?
No. It may not be as profitable as oil, but it can be more rewarding than oil.
Okay.
Because we have a vast land to use for agriculture, and it can employ quite a reasonable number of people. And at the end of the day, the reward you get from it is employment opportunity.
Okay.
There will be disposable income. There will be purchasing power.
Okay.
And on top of it all, there will be savings. And then the resources of the state can be utilized. It will reduce crime. It will reduce healthcare bill. Education will improve. Several cities will grow.
Okay.
Some cities will become mega city because people will have money to spend. Okay. So actually, it will be more rewarding than oil. Only that the profit from oil can help corruption a lot. not that it's not rewarding. Just like those callers are saying. The corruption that is being perpetrated in the oil industry is by a clique. It's not translating to everybody. For instance, people will accuse the federal government of masterminding the stealing of money in the oil industry. They won't be wrong. But those states that are collecting 13% resources in the last 12 years,
that's right.
How has it translated their people? Or is it the federal government that is also responsible for the management of those states? Because we have states that are collecting 13% oil derivation, resource control. Why are those other states not finding it easy? In Lagos, almost 40-something% of the VAT that are generated in this country comes from Lagos. Now, a state that says it's a Sharia state will claim that they cannot drink in their state, but yet they can share from the VAT.
I see.
That's not equitable. So all these things ought to be addressed in form of tax. It is the more you bring, or leave every state to control their own VAT.
How do we encourage that culture of taxation? Because, you know, the fallout effect is people will say, after all, when I give the tax, some corrupt leaders will cut it away. What exactly am I benefiting from government to now give a large chunk of my profit back? I provide my own electricity, I provide my own water. How do we encourage that culture of taxation in this kind of a system?
No, the point is it's getting better, actually. One, tax is not about income tax or personal income tax.
Okay.
Tax goes beyond that. Even VAT is a tax. Sales tax is a tax. Petroleum gain tax is a tax. Education tax is a tax. So to say that how can I come and contribute? It's because the government or its agency are very weak in enforcing the law or in bringing more people into the net of tax paying. For instance, if a company relocates from Lagos simply because of the tax regime, and you now go to locate at one forest inside Lagos Ibadan Expressway, they should use the bank to track you.
That's right.
And place a restriction order on your accounts and tell them that you should come and pay your tax. They can use CAC, Corporate Affairs Commission, to track you. This is a company that is bringing its end-of-year account.
Hello?
They can use the stock exchange to capture you.
Just a minute, sir. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest.
Yes. I'm speaking from Aba, Ugochukwu.
Ugochukwu from Aba. Ugo.
Hello.
Welcome to Call Digest. Go ahead with your contribution, Ugochukwu.
Yeah. So.
I need you to turn down the volume of your
I
TV.
always known that this problem will come up this one day about the the low oil revenue price.
Okay.
Hello?
I'm afraid we're going to have to yank you off, Ugo. I need you to turn down the volume of your TV set the next time you call in so we can do without the feedback distortion. When you call in, turn down the volume of your TV. Let's keep the conversation on the telephone because there's a little feedback delay between what we say and what you hear on your TV set. If we can, before we go on the show today, let's turn our attention to all that needs to be done to bring about a violence-free 2015 general election, because that seems to be one major concern of the average Nigerian. Even for those who are lucky enough to have gotten the PVC, they're also wondering and thinking, should I go out? Should I stay back? It's better I stay back at home and then I'm alive. Would you say that what we saw yesterday is indeed enough to make all of this happen?
No, it's not enough. It is just the beginning. And I think, like they have done at the federal level yesterday, they should also do it in every state.
Okay.
Now, leaders of themselves must be made accountable for the actions of their supporters. They should be made accountable, because if in your house, as a family man, in your micro-family house, and one of your children goes out of the way to go and slap somebody else in front of the house, you will be held accountable.
I see.
So, any violence that is developed in any state, the chairman of that local government is accountable. The state chief executive is also accountable, even though he has immunity. It will be pending for him at the end of his tenure. Because I remember the Dosumu, several years ago, the late Dosumu now, Senator Dosumu, there was an incident in Lagos Island where somebody was killed by one of his supporters. The election was annulled one way or the other, so he escaped abroad. The case was waiting for him, and in 1999, the case resurfaced. He was almost going to jail before Whether Court of Appeal threw it out that he would not have organized it. Maybe one of his supporters just said because it was within Lagos Island. Okay. So leaders must be made accountable. There are 3 senators from every zone, except Abuja where you have 1. There are House of Reps from every department of the state. There are House of Assembly members from every department of the state. They should be held accountable for whatever happened within your area of operation, because the senator must have emerged from a zone. Within the zone, there are House of Reps members. Within the zone, there are chairmen of local government. Within the zone, there are House of Assembly members. All these people must be made accountable. They should give them a lecture before the election about what is expected of them. Because if in this micro share, this polling booth, there is an incident there, it should be properly probed. And those found guilty must be brought up. Supporters have nothing to lose. They are paid to die. Children of these political stalwarts, they will not be there.
That's right.
So it's just somebody who cannot eat, who have nothing to lose. He has no education, he has no work, he has nothing. They just gave him the RICA and gave him 2,000 that anybody that did any nonsense there, deal with him. So these supporters, these leaders that are giving instruction, secretly or openly, should be prosecuted.
And you know, some have also questioned the role of security agencies in not only arresting, but prosecuting corporates in this light. We've heard about explosion at the Rivers APC Secretariat. We heard about 2 PDP buses burnt. What we hear from the Nigerian Police Force usually is we are on top of the matter. But we don't get to see people, faces brought to face the music so that it will be a deterrent to others. Do we have a situation whereby anything goes and then anybody can do anything in Nigeria and go home with it?
Well, it has always been the case. Between 1999 and now, not up to 10 big corrupt men and women have been brought to book. It's a long case waiting in court. All they do is to stall it, adjourn, and all sorts. So where will the judiciary come from? Every society dictates the kind of police it wants. You dictate the kind of security you want. Because we put these people there on political reasons. And we accuse ourselves, we politicize every department of our lives. For instance, we're talking about violence in Rivers State, PDP with APC. The next thing you get, if the police even attempt to prosecute any of them, is that police is taking side. PDP will accuse police of taking side. APC will accuse police of taking side. Then who are they taking side? Is it with the criminal crime or the perpetrators? So this is the problem we have in this society. But I think we're getting more matured. The few elections that have been held stagnantly, we've gotten very good.
It's getting better. Just a minute. Let's take this call. Good morning. Welcome to Call Digest.
Good morning. I'm Chima.
Chima. You're calling from where?
Abia State.
Abia State. Go ahead with your contribution, Chima.
Thank you. I like your program.
Thank you, brother.
There's one thing with me that disturbs me a lot in Nigeria. Hardly you see any Nigerian rich people going to jail. And they're the one using these purposes. If you can agree with me, election, that any politicians remember that these people that eat rice. It's only when Nigerian election that we have some people, the people that we send to go and represent us, can be able to buy machines to dash us. It's only when Nigeria is planning for election, they remember that we can only to talk about this in Nigeria. Just look at the whole federal government, the whole Nigeria, the whole operation. No local government is existing, and everybody keep quiet about it. No job opportunities. People that jump from PDP to APC, are they not the same people? They are the same people that is PDP. They are jumping in APC because the way they can share the money. The only other problem about sharing the money, I wish the oil will come to number zero in Nigeria. So that you go and hustle. You have business and I have my business. Let everybody go and face his business. The problem we're having today, will stand through federalism. Today, I will continue it. We are agreeing to peace. Where can you find peace? Where you know that I'm from Igbo and you're from Yoruba and you're from Hausa, and we can never agree to agree. You know that because we are forced to be one, and we cannot say we are one, and you can agree with me that we're not one. We're only one in this football. Look at what is happening in the nation. It's time to share the money, not because of Nigeria. They're only there for their own advantage, not for me and you. Thank you.
You're welcome, Chima. Well, how do we bring all of this home to bear on peaceful elections? Because we have a situation in our hands whereby it looks as if we have a ripe, youthful population that are very vulnerable to being used as political thugs. Are there alternatives in this short period of time? Because I'm not sure we're going to get jobs for them between now and February 14. How do we ensure that all of this teeming, young and viral population will not toe this path of violence ahead February 14?
Well, it's not that it will be violence-free. The election cannot be violence-free. That I can predict.
Are you being pessimistic now?
No, but the magnitude will be seriously reduced.
Okay.
For instance, the law enforcement agents are waking up gradually. And I have 3 empirical cases. One in Edo State, it was violence-free. In Ekiti State, it reduces in violence.
To an extent.
And in Ondo State, it was also violence-free. And that was because the police were well updated on what is expected of them. And the same thing with the SSS. But you see, what is the size of our law enforcement agents?
Okay.
Even if you include the military, what is the size? The military will still remain in the northeast for the better part of the election period. And you see, they cannot be able to deploy enough personnel and equipment to about 30 states that will be functioning for this election. So they will not be able to curb it outrightly, but it will be reduced. Then with the step taken yesterday, if they can do it with all the aspirants in other states, chairman, local government, and all of them, I think the tension will be reducing. For instance, some elites that I spoke with yesterday after the workshop, they expressed confidence in the system. they revalidate their confidence in the Nigerian nation. This goes beyond political situation. It is that, oh, these people can come together and sit side by side with each other, and there is no name calling. And they were bordering on issue of violence, and they signed pact. That is binding on the two of them. However, what is the implication when it is broken? No, because there was no implication. You cannot tell me to come and sign an MOU when there is no implication that if this thing is broken by my side, what should I do to you?
Just a minute. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. That's Christopher.
Christopher, calling from where?
From Suleja.
Suleja. Okay, you almost forgot where you're calling from. It's all right, Christopher. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Not what me. There's not. I hear your colleague talking about the violent elections issue. For me, what is causing the violent election issue? The hand of INEC and the ruling government.
Okay.
You can watch the election in Anambra. You can watch the election in Anambra between governor election. You see the game where INEC and the city government play there. The game INEC and the city government play there. Anambra is 21 local government. From Oka to the how many minutes? But INEC is telling Nigeria that the business of electoral material in Anambra in 10 minutes, where the opposition party is getting votes. If they divide Anambra into 10, it is 7. But they play the game to frustrate him in that election. Like they say, it's inconclusive. All these things can cause to violent election. I know that he didn't win me. He introduced game against me. He collided with the sitting president, collided with the governor, and dumped somebody. He said that violence will end. If you go to other countries, there's nothing like soldier military unit. There's nothing like police military unit. You go and vote and go to your house. If you wait the case, you are going normally. But if you win me free and fair election, I go my house, I congratulate you. But once you are not winning me, I know that you have gain because of your ruling party, because of people in INEC, because INEC wants you to win, because of the audacity you to be the governor, because of the audacity you to be president, because of the audacity you to be senator.
It's all right.
The guy against me, how my man will rest, how my father will rest. And sometimes people don't vote their votes. End of the day, do not vote their votes, they count. This is exactly what is happening. And the ruling party and the police, they're ganging up and cheating people. You are telling us that the electoral violence will stop. That's not good.
I believe you made your point there, Christopher from Suleja. Thank you very much for calling us on the show today. Now, beyond all of this, is it also possible that we're looking at a situation in 2015 where people will believe more that their votes will count? Because if we go by what Mr. President said, is it also important that politicians should start educating people from their own zone, that the fact that you get the largest number of votes in a particular zone does not necessarily mean that will reflect on the overall result? Because from his own position, he believes that was what caused the post-election violence in 2011.
No, from his point of view, that's not the entire thing that caused it. But he believes that it's one of those things that caused it. Where you have the largest irregularity, or where people assume that they were rigged by their votes, there are those days there were issues of violence. But in area where the man who wins overall eventually scored low in some states or in some zones, there was still violence. It's not because of irregularity. It's because of the way our political class talk. Preempting a result before it is even
before it's
announced.
Been officially announced.
So all those ones, for instance, General Buhari, with due respect, gave an analysis yesterday that while they were still counting, and that his boys were sending results from every polling booth to this thing, they wrote to INEC at the end of the day, and INEC for 9 months did not even reply. That's a weakness on the part of INEC, and there's an indictment. Even if you are still going to say yes or no, you must respond. But this is common with government agencies. Once you write to them, and they are finding it difficult to interpret, they will just send it to one file, and that's the end. So INEC is having a problem of communication. That's what I would say. And they need, political class must continue to communicate and educate. Political parties has a responsibility to go to every zone, not just to go and be shouting about vote for me, vote for me. It is also important for them that if you are caught in any violent situation, you will be prosecuted, and we will not be supporting you. But they cannot do it. They do not have the political will to do it, because politicians are the one breeding thugs, not thugs breeding the politicians. So, like I've said, the police must go round every zone, every DPO zones, and write an agreement with them that if there is any breakdown of law and order here, even the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers, in every state, it should be held responsible, because that's where talk begins.
Looks like there are a lot of agreements to sign this season. We're going to have to take a commercial break now, and when we come back, we'll take a couple more calls and we'll wrap up the show today. Stick around and go away.
Fellow Nigerians, as we enter a new year, let us talk Nigerian to Nigerian. Many of you believe that something is wrong with Nigeria. Many of you have given up. You think this country can never be good, can never get better. And so you forgive politicians for stealing and for mediocrity. Because you say to yourselves, they are all thieves. They are all selfish, and nothing will change. But is that really true? It is not. Many people ask me, why am I running for office again? And I ask them, what has changed since I began this mission? Can you honestly, truly say to yourself that our country has changed for the better? Are our children safe when they go to school? Are our parents safe when we leave them at home? Is the naira in your bank account of greater value today than it was 4 years ago? I am Muhammad Buhari. I am urging you to have your PVC, and on election day, you go peacefully and vote and make sure your vote counts. Thank you very much.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you stay the course on the show. This Thursday, we'll just take a couple more calls and we're going to wrap it up this morning. Are you there? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Salisu. I'm still calling from Niger State.
All right, Salisu, go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah. My contribution is that Nigeria, since the assumption of democracy in Nigeria, hello?
I'm with you, Salisu.
Hello?
Go ahead, Salisu.
Okay, since the assumption of democracy in Nigeria, I didn't see anything like democracy working in Nigeria because, hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
I'm with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't see anything since the assumption of democracy in Nigeria. I didn't see democracy the way it is in other parts of the world. Because just take a look what the causes of crisis in Nigeria. You see the PDP man, they bring person that is not even suiting to the mind of the society, and the other party bring person that is credible for the people of grassroots. And at the end of the election, the Let them win the election and tell you as the ordinary man on the street. How will you?
I'm afraid we can hardly hear you, Salisu, but you also made your point there. Let's wrap this up. We've been able to highlight the role of political stakeholders, the security agencies. What is the role of the electorate in this ongoing campaign for violence-free elections?
Thank God this is the age of technology. Electorate, if I am to volunteer an opinion, is everybody must go to the polling booth with their handsets. Where possible. And if there's anything like violence, you record it, just like it is done in other parts of the world.
And you upload it on YouTube.
And you upload it on YouTube, or you send it to any station of your choice.
Send it to Court TV News.
So it will be aired, it will be collated, and it will be helpful for the system, because they will know that because of violence, we could not discharge our responsibilities. I mean, these are some of the areas that would deter all these talks from doing what has not to be done.
I'm sorry. I see. We'll take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to Call Digest.
This is Abdul calling from Sokoto.
Abdul, welcome. Go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning, Mr. Can I recall the name?
Which of us now? Is it Mr.
Your visitor.
Okay. Bola Onanuga.
Mr. Thank you very much, sir. I'm very happy that the Senate included all the points on head to head.
Okay.
Thank you very much. My contribution, the first one, I'm very happy people are now talking about diversification from fuel, this, that. For how many years have we been talking of this? No implementation. Paper, seminar upon seminar, committee upon committee. Nothing is happening. What? Thank God, people are saying Buhari did not have certificate. I can beg to go to Alaba, go and pick one people who did not even have elementary school and is managing his business upon all the professors we have in economics in this, that. Not only that, look at what is happening in our fuel problems. When they said our Mrs. Okojo was taken at 65, when fuel is continuing funding with the education, where are we going? And we still insist that this is that. About the conference yesterday, I did not believe that one will work in Nigeria. The problem is from the grassroots. Let's talk of where you will see the top holding market, holding gun, holding this. Political party, where the police will be at the back, leading the big man. And the top is in the front as an escort. Where are we going? The other area is the, what we call it, the violence on this, that. The blame should be on our security and the electoral empire. They are the faulty of that area. And they have to correct themselves. Because I cannot see the reason why a policeman will not know his right on duty. Upon all this, that, where we are now being seeing the bias of even the IG starting from a memo from this, from that.
Okay.
That is an indication. So
Thank you very much, Abdul, calling from Sokoto. Mr. Bola Onanuga is the MD, Editor-in-Chief of Financial Standard. Thank you very much for joining us today as well on Core Digest. Core Digest continues tomorrow, 9 o'clock to 11. A big thank you to all of our callers. Larry calling from Akure, Jane calling from Lagos. We also had Comrade Olale Raju from Ilorin, Christian from Kogi, Salisu from Niger State, Jayola from Warri, Chuku calling from Anambra, Eze calling from Mina, and we had Ogochuku's call from Aba, Chima from Abia State, Christopher from Suleja, and our last caller was Abdul, who called in from Sokoto. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Core Digest Live, where we can get all of your comprehensive comments and inquiries on the show. Stick around for the top of the hour news. Don't go away.
Fellow Nigerians, as we enter a new year, let us talk Nigerian to Nigerian. Many of you believe that something is wrong with Nigeria. Many of you have given up. You think this country can never be good, can never get better. And so you forgive politicians for stealing and for mediocrity. Because you say to yourselves, they are all thieves. They are all selfish. And nothing will change. But is that really true? It is not. Many people ask me, why am I running for office again? And I ask them, what has changed since I began this mission? Can you honestly, truly say to yourself that our country has changed for the better? Are our children safe when they go to school? Are our parents safe when we leave them at home? Is the naira in your bank account of greater value today than it was 4 years ago? I, Muhammad Buhari, I am urging you to have your PVC, and on election day, you go peacefully and vote and make sure your vote count. Thank you very much.